Okay, sorry, I had to step away for just a second. So she finds this statement from James and the Giant Peach, and she's very concerned about this child who's being obviously abused. But she doesn't know it's from James and the Giant Peach, so she doesn't know it's a work of fiction. And then she finds the chain that has a heart-shaped pendant with the initials KW. And she remembers the fear that she recorded in the eyes of Kaylee. And so even though she's not met Kaylee yet, she knows a little bit more about her, about this place that is so important to Kaylee, and that she's afraid. We're going to move straight on to, let's see, chapter 7. When Kaylee wakes up to the radio playing and she realizes the power's back on, so she's pretty excited about that. He must have paid the bill. He is not back from wherever he has went the night before. He's left her alone, which she enjoys. She appreciates that. And she gets up and she is talking about or thinking about poetry that she's learned when she was still going to school. So she hasn't been in school for a while. And she writes a haiku that is really deep for this little girl. It says, "I hide in the dark. The wind howls outside my door. He always finds me." And so she's satisfied. She folds up that piece of paper and she tucks it in the hole of her dictionary, in her mattress, and continues thinking about this woman that she wants to see again and how much she reminds her of her teacher that taught her how to do haikus. So she does get to make her egg and eat it. And she's wondering what would actually happen to her if she did leave the house, because he's always threatened that he will do something really bad to her if she leaves the house, and he finds out that she's left. And then she realized that there's nothing he can do to her that would be worse than what he's already doing. So she puts on her nicest clothes, which are a Kmart t-shirt and jeans. And they're not her favorites, but she looks good. And she remembers that in Emily Post, she learned about clothes. Clothes do more to add to our appearance. They are our appearance and should look your best. So she goes back to the tree, hoping that she will meet Sierra. Okay, on the same morning, Sierra wakes up really early in chapter 8, 6:45. She sleeps later than usual. Oh, goodness, I don't want to wake up at 6:45. Anyway, she calls Ruby, who is woken out of a sound sleep, and Sierra says, "Look, it's time for us to get together for breakfast." This is something these two ladies have done for a dozen years or so. They have gotten together for breakfast. They don't have a set day. They just call and say, "Hey, today's a good day for breakfast. Let's get together." And she also drops the bomb that, "Hey, I'm going to introduce you to somebody, the new man in my life." And Ruby is really excited because this is the first time in 12 years that Sierra has shown any kind of interest in making any kind of relationship outside of her family and of Ruby. So she takes Van with her to Ruby's house and introduces her dog to Ruby and calls him the new man in her life. The man she's falling in love with is this dog, Van. And she talks to Ruby about what she saw in the tree and how concerned she is for this child, and why would a child be up there all by herself? And Ruby mentions the fact that some people squat. They do, squatters live up there, and they like it because it's free rent and they can live without electricity and plumbing if they have to. And that really concerns Sierra, and she goes back home thinking that she's not going to go back up. She's going to let the whole thing drop, kind of. And but as she's going home, she keeps reminding herself that, maybe she should go. Maybe she should. Maybe she shouldn't. She's not really sure. And then as she's on her way home, it's really funny. She feels like she's going the wrong way. She should be going up to Bonnie Doon where the tree is. Instead, she's heading home, feeling the whole way that she's not quite on the right path. And then when she gets home, we have this lovely little moment with her and her new dog, Van, where the dog, who is so obedient, refuses to get out of the van or get out of the Jeep. And it gets to the point where Sierra actually pulls him out of the Jeep, and he just runs around the Jeep, gets in the driver's side, and gets back in the passenger seat. And she's like, fine, let's go. And she takes him up to Bonnie Doon. He gets out immediately. So it's almost like he was chosen to show her this place to go. And that's when she gets to meet Kaylee for the first time. She takes Van off the leash so he can approach Kaylee first. And the two of them hit it off immediately. And then it's a little slower for Sierra. She's concerned, but she doesn't want to scare this little girl. And the two of them start to converse non-verbally. The first thing that Kaylee does, because she can't speak, when Sierra introduces herself, Kaylee stands up, bows, and shakes her hand. This is what she learned from Emily Post. So Sierra has to carry the whole conversation. All that Kaylee can do is either shake her head or nod. And to break through, the two of them decide, well, Sierra decides to comb her hair. It's not something a person normally does when they first meet somebody, but it's a quiet moment. This little girl's playing with a dog, and Sierra pulls out a comb and starts combing her own hair. And she sees Kaylee watching, and she offers the comb to Kaylee and see if Kaylee wants to comb her hair. So Kaylee starts to comb and braid Sierra's hair. That gives Sierra the open door to do the same thing for Kaylee. Kaylee's hair is matted. It's knotted. It hasn't been washed in a very, very long time because she basically has to wash with sand in a stream. She hasn't really had her hair combed since her mom used to sit her down and comb. And even when the snarls are painful and Sierra is very concerned about hurting this little girl, Kaylee stays very, very still because she's afraid that if she shows any kind of fear or annoyance at getting her hair pulled while it's being combed, that this lady will leave just like her mom had left. So it's really, really rather sad. The two of them have this moment of combing each other's hair, but there's also a moment where Sierra provides a snack. I like The Office. I enjoy watching The Office. And there's a scene in there that I kind of crack up every time when Michael is at Jim and Pam's wedding and he meets Pam's mom for the first time and he says, "Do you have a snack?" And she looks at him. They're in the chapel waiting for the wedding to start. And she says, "What?" And he says, "Well, you're a mom, right? You have snacks." And then she pulls a snack out of her purse and hands it to him. She probably hasn't had a snack-aged kid in like 20 years, but she's like, "Oh yeah, I got a snack." But this is something Sierra does. She wants to provide for this little girl that she doesn't even know. She pulls a granola bar out for Kaylee and one out for herself. And as she's nibbling, Kaylee is wolfing hers down because Kaylee is starving. And this makes Sierra angry. Who could allow this child to starve? And then she pulls out an apple too. And Kaylee eats the apple. And then in a real parental memory that's just kind of embedded, Kaylee takes the core and hands it back to Sierra. And Sierra holds out her hand automatically and says, "Yeah, I'll take it," and puts it outside. And she has this memory of this is something only a mom would do, to take a piece of discarded garbage and hold out your hand for your child to deposit that garbage into your hand. And so she notices now this little girl is in desperate need of help. She's not being cared for. She is starving. But there is really nothing she can do for Kaylee, because if she just picked Kaylee up and took her to her car and strapped her in and took her down off the mountain, that's kidnapping and that's illegal. So you've got Kaylee appreciating this time with Sierra. Sierra loving this time with Kaylee. But there is no understanding of what the next step should be. So with Kaylee, she just has to leave when she realizes the sun is starting to get down lower in the sky, that it's time to leave. And Sierra says, "Can I walk you home?" And Kaylee's like, "Nope, you sure can't." "Can we meet again?" "Yes." "Can we meet again here?" And Kaylee's like pointing to the tree. "Yes, we will meet here." And that's where they have to leave it. They have to leave it where Sierra and Kaylee just meet at the tree. Not the following day, because there's an appointment that Sierra has to make, but the day after. And that's the next time they are designed to meet each other. As much as the mommy in Sierra would love to just take this little girl home and take care of her, it's not legal for her to do that until she can find out who Kaylee belongs to and whether or not Kaylee can be taken from that situation. Okay, so really great chapters this week. So 1 through 10, we did awesome. And I hope you're enjoying the book as much as I'm enjoying the reread. I really love this book and I love this writer. So next week, we're going to up it just a little bit. We said we were going to do 10 chapters a week, and I told you we might have to up that. So it wasn't for this week. I'm not going to up it this week, obviously. So for next week, so from today all the way to next Tuesday, let's up that to 12 chapters. Okay, we're just adding 2 more chapters on. So that would put us in chapter 23. Okay, because we're starting in 11 and we will end in chapter 23. So read all the way through chapter 23 this week. You don't have to read on the weekends or Wednesdays, but you do have to make plans to read every day other than those days. Okay, so you read those and we'll get together again next Tuesday just to discuss this wonderful book, Words. Thank you so much.